Welcome to Blue Talks.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here at Oxford University. I'm Morgan Massie, CEO of Leadership and Training Concierge, TEDx speaker, and international best-selling author. I wear a lot of hats, just like many of you. I'm also a mom, wife, doctoral student, multipreneur, juggling several ventures that reflect my passions. And today I want to talk about something that's been a huge part of my journey, something that I've had to face head on to get to where I am now. It's all about finding your voice. And if I'm honest, finding my voice hasn't been easy, especially when the world seems to push us into fitting certain molds. But it's crucial, especially for those of us that want to lead, inspire, and make a real lasting impact with those we work with and beyond. And so I'd like to ask you a question, something that's been tied to finding your voice that's really been haunting me for many years now. Who here has ever felt or had that feeling as if you were invisible? You can raise your hands. Like you were there, but not really seen. I got you. I feel that way as well. So my son asked me a question one time. If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be? And so I paused and gave it some thought. And before I answered, I redirected the question to him. Well, I don't know, Jasper. What power would you have? Well, that's easy, Mom. Invisibility. Why? I asked. Well, so I could go anywhere I wanted and sneak up on people and scare them. And yeah, I laughed as well, but he wouldn't leave me off the hook. The tactic didn't work. So what superpower would you have, Mom? Well, that question took me back. I remember feeling invisible as a kid, like in real life. It was definitely not the superpower that I ever wanted. I felt unnoticed in school, nothing too unique about me to make me stand out or blend in, for that matter. I was just, like I said earlier, there, but not there. And that feeling, unfortunately, lasted into part of my adulthood. I remember picking up a habit of always introducing myself on the phone when I was calling people, even though my name was on the receiving end. Just in case my stepsister might forget who I was. Hey, it's Morgan, I would say. I didn't just feel invisible, I felt like I had no voice. And as a result, because I believed that, I was seen by others as that quiet girl in the back of the class, back of the room, wherever that may be. I didn't realize it at the time, but really it was these limiting beliefs that were holding me back from success in relationships or leadership or business, whatever the situation may be. And finding my voice wasn't about talking louder or being someone that I thought people wanted me to be so I could stand out in the crowd, because believe me, I tried all those tactics. No, I learned that finding my voice was actually more personal than that. It was about finding the confidence to actually show up and simply exist as me, as I was. How scary. And be confident in what I had to offer, the knowledge that I had to offer others. In a sense, finding my voice was about finding myself, my value. And the problem is, many of us are conditioned that we need to fit into that certain mold. And so we worry about what others think, whether we'll be accepted and understood. So we hold back and play it safe. And by doing that, we silence our knowledge, our voice, what we have inside. We tell ourselves it's better to blend in than to risk standing out. But what happens when we blend in too much is we start to disappear. That was my story for a time. And I know by seeing some of the head nods here that maybe I'm not the only one. I became curious about why I felt invisible. Why did I always feel like this outsider looking in? And what I discovered was that my value wasn't defined by how well I could fit into other people's expectations or molds. My value was in my own authenticity, my own knowledge and perspective that I brought to the table. But to see that, I had to shift my mindset, kind of get out of my own way and stop trying to be what others wanted and just start showing up as myself. So I started small, began sharing my insights more publicly through blog posts on my website, through social media because that was comfortable with me, or through speaking engagements like this one. And I just let my authentic thoughts and knowledge shine through rather than a polished version of myself that someone else told me I needed to be. It was a bit nerve-wracking at first until I realized that my true self, when I brought that forward, I started to attract people that resonated with me and my voice. It wasn't just about what I was saying, but the way I was showing up fully and sometimes unapologetically, sometimes messy. That's okay. So for example, for those of us that are seeking to transition from page to stage, right? Or build a brand around our expertise. Finding your voice is about the clarity and the consistency in your message. Your voice is not just what you say, but how you are saying it. It's about your style, your perspective, and the way in which you connect with your audience. Research from Stanford University actually says that people are more likely to remember and trust messages that are conveyed in an authentic way because it fosters this deep emotional connection. So when you're clearly articulating your message and expressing it in a way that's kind of unique to you, you are the one becoming memorable. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, reflection, a lot of practice to figure out how to find and refine your voice. But once you do, it acts as this bridge connecting you with those that need to hear your message most. So, how do we, as speakers, writers, leaders, find and refine our voice? It starts with honing in on your area of expertise and understanding how to express that authentically and uniquely your style. What are your unique insights, perspectives, knowledge that only you bring to the table? If you're scratching your head at this right now, let me give you some advice. So a friend of mine once told me that our true expertise often feels like common sense, common knowledge to us. So much so that we just assume everyone else knows it too. But the reality is, what comes naturally to us might not be common knowledge, common sense to others. We just can't really see that because we're too close. It's the stuff that we can do or know or just explain in our sleep. By aligning our voice with that and who we are at our core and consistently showing up in that truth, then we can build that recognizable personal brand which leverages our voice. It's not about shouting like I mentioned earlier. It's about resonating with others. And the more genuine and clear your voice, the more it and you stand out. And that is what draws your audience to you. This week, take some time to identify one area where you've been holding back from sharing your own expertise. It could be writing that blog post, recording a video, or putting your thoughts out there in a way that maybe you haven't before because it felt awkward. Challenge yourself to express your authentic insight and knowledge in a way that feels good for you. That's the first step to refining your voice and building that personal brand for yourself. So let's go back to my son's question. Mom, what would your superpower be? For a long time, I wasn't sure how to answer, but I know now. Jasper, my superpower would be visibility. Not just for myself, but for others. The power to show up fully, to be seen, heard, and to make space for others to be seen and heard with their voice too. To lift that invisibility cloak off everyone who's ever felt like they had to hide who they were, what they knew. Finding your voice is finding your superpower. It's the courage to show up, be seen, and to make an impact. And when you do that, you don't just speak your voice, you inspire. So what's your superpower? And when will you start using it? Thank you.